We're proud to offer high-quality, rechargeable hearing aids starting at just $98. Clear, comfortable, and ready to use right out of the box. And here's a study worth hearing. Research shows that wearing hearing aids can reduce your risk of dementia by up to 61%. Join over 1 million happy customers and hear the difference today by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
My name is Whitney Allen. I am a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought in a million years we'd have to use life insurance. The unexpected happened. With Ethos, it is so fast and easy. It's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage through Ethos.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ETHOS.com/term.
Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
AM 560, The Answer. If we want to preserve our constitutional republic, we need an informed and educated citizenry. And that's what this show is all about. Find out what's really happening. It's time to stop the lies and learn the truth. This is The Real Story with your host, Jeannie Ives.
Welcome back. It's time for the new year, 2026. Boy, did it start out with a bang. We'll get to that in just a moment as Trump took on Maduro and took him out. But before we even say anything about that, how about those Bears? Okay, look, they're kind of, I guess, used to pulling it out in the fourth quarter and making it happen. It didn't happen. They narrowly lost to the Lions. And if they're going to want to, make it all the way, I guess they have to start playing in the first half. So, unfortunately, a disappointing loss tonight, but at least they're in the playoffs, and that's a good thing. Also, co-hosting the show with me this entire night is Kevin Phares.
So happy to be here. I'm so happy to be here, Jeannie. I know you haven't said anything about me, and anybody out there who's listening right now, if you don't even know my name, if you've never heard it before, don't worry. Just right now is the first of many times you will be hearing it in the state of Illinois. I am a former radio host from Central Illinois. I'm now currently a 2L at Liberty University School of Law. And do not worry, everybody. Illinois is worth saving, and that's why I'm going to come back here after I am done with law school, and we're going to save Illinois. And we're going to need each and every one of you to do it, and that's why we're here right here on The Answer to give you the answers of how we're going to do just that.
Wow, he's a professional. He's been doing this radio gig longer than I have, and so I really appreciate him joining tonight. Besides, we want to hear from the younger generation. This is your future that's at stake, really, in places like Illinois, and it's great. I'm going to hold it to you. I'm going to hold you to coming back to the state of Illinois. And by the way, just since it's on my mind right now, do you know that they have a $20 million pot that if you come back and you have any student loans that need to be forgiven at all, if you just simply buy a house and you hold it for 3 years, they'll forgive in the state of Illinois up to $44,000 of your student loans. So you can be making $125,000 and still take advantage of this program. I think it's all garbage, but since it's out there, I'd rather you take it.
That's the thing. You know, if Somalians are going to take advantage of our government programs, then why can't I get a little taste of it too?
Absolutely. I mean, I've been railing about the student loan bailout program that Pritzker put in place, but hey, I'd rather go to somebody like you than somebody who's never stepped foot in the state of Illinois and still would be eligible for this. So, I mean, that's just a little bit of a side thing. But let's face it, you had to been like literally hiding under a rock. Maybe you were out of the country or whatever.
Or you were still recovering from the New Year's Eve hangover or something. Who knows?
But you really absolutely missed it if you didn't understand exactly what happened, and that is that Nicolas Maduro, now former president of Venezuela, was taken in a military action in conjunction with the Department of Justice on very early in the morning of January 2nd. And by the way, here's a little bit of a take on how that all went down. Go ahead and take a listen here.
My fellow Americans, it is my great honor to announce the capture of Venezuelan dictator Nicolas Maduro, a very nasty person with a very stupid mustache. He's very stupid. And he broke what's called the Trump doctrine. F around and find out. And he effed around for too long. And now we found out. Our beautiful men and women of our military entered his home through a hole that was created after we attached Chris Christie to a wrecking ball. We blew a big, beautiful hole in the house, and they said to me, "Sir, We found him, sir. He's sleeping like a baby in Hello Kitty pajamas, believe it or not. He was in Hello Kitty pajamas, sucking his thumb in the fetal position. They said to me, "Sir, what do you want us to do, sir?" I said, "Get him out," and they got him out. I want to congratulate the new president of Venezuela, Marco Rubio. He's going to do a tremendous job, just like he does in all of his jobs, but he's going to be a great president of Venezuela. They call him El Marco Grande, right? El Marco Grande. That means Big Marco. He's Big Marco now.
Big Marco now.
But when we convict Maduro, we're going to shave off that horrible, stupid mustache, and we're looking at where to send him. We're looking at Sicat. It's a beautiful place in El Salvador, a very tough place. And if he goes there, maybe the Democrats could have a margarita with him. You know, they like to do that, so maybe they can do that. Or we may send him to Somalia. There's no worse punishment than to send a person to a complete dump of a country. It's a dump. I call it a sugar honey iced tea hole. You know what I'm talking about, Somalia. It's a very nasty place. But the days of Maduro sending drugs and gang members into our country are over. Tren de Aragua, they used to be Tren de Aquí, now they're Tren de Adios, they're Tren de Annihilated. And let this serve as a message to the rest of the world. If you're a dictator who threatens the United States, including the Ayatollah of Iran and his many wives or goats or whatever the hell he's doing in that cave, we're going to come for you too. Do not break the Trump doctrine. F around and find out. If you abide by it, you're not going to have a problem. But if you break the Trump doctrine, you're going to have a lot of problems. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
Okay, obviously that was a parody. That was Sean Phares, the famous Trump impersonator. His take on the Maduro takedown. I mean, but along with that, there was also some glimmers of truth. I mean, now we don't have the Donroedoctrine. Donald Trump himself has declared we have the Donroedoctrine.
Absolutely.
And he's not far off, really, from what he's doing. He's protecting the Western Hemisphere. Including, obviously they thought that China, Iran, and Cuba having cozy relationships with Maduro was a problem for our national security. So this is more than just getting taken out drug pin. It's more about our national security.
And I think it's really interesting to talk, Jeannie, about exactly why we did this in the first place. Like, why did we go into, because in today's day and age, somebody like 25, like myself, will look at this and be like, well, that seems really weird. Like another country's president, we as a country went over and basically kidnapped him. And I'm willing to bet the vast majority, unless you majored in college in some kind of foreign affairs or international business, anything, probably has no idea anything about Venezuela's politics, its economy, anything. And so we need to actually kind of talk about, to inform everybody, why we did this and why there's precedent for this. Because you have people that are going out on street corners right now saying no, or that 5 months ago, they were saying, no kings, no kings. And then you had Nicolas Maduro, who had nullified elections, had basically made himself the dictator of Venezuela, and isolated their country from the rest of the world, despite the fact that they had great relations prior with other countries.
I mean, President Trump put together an awesome press conference, including himself, obviously the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Dan Kane gave remarks, but also Marco Rubio. And I think he was very succinct about exactly why we did this. And I pulled that clip alone. Take a listen.
Well, I don't have much to add to what you've heard now, other than the following points. Nicolas Maduro was indicted in 2020 in the United States. He is not the legitimate president of Venezuela. That's not just us saying it. The first Trump administration, the Biden administration, the second Trump administration, none of those three recognized him. He's not recognized by the European Union and multiple countries around the world. He is a fugitive of American justice with a $50 million reward, which I guess we saved $50 million. And
make sure.
Yeah, exactly. But
don't let anybody claim it. Nobody deserves it but us.
But I want to be clear about one thing. Nicolas Maduro had multiple opportunities to avoid this. He was provided multiple very, very, very generous offers and chose instead to act like a wild man, chose instead to play around. And the result is what we saw tonight. The other message here is the following. You have a guy, like many people around the world, they like to play games. You have a guy who decides he's going to invite Iran into his country, is going to, do the confiscation of American oil companies, is going to flood our country with gang members, is going to take Americans prisoner and try to hold them for hostage and trade them like he was able to do with the Biden administration. Basically likes to play games all this time and thinks nothing's going to happen. And I hope what people now understand is that we have a president. The 47th president of the United States is not a game player. When he tells you that he's going to do something, when he tells you he's going to address a problem, he means it. He actions it. I can tell you, I've watched this process now for 14, 15 years, been around it. Everybody talks. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. When I get there, we're going to do this. We're going to take. This is a president of action. Like, I don't understand yet how they haven't figured this out. And now, if you don't know, now you know. Because this is the way it's going to play out. And I think people need to understand that this is not a president that just talks and does letters and press conferences. And, you know, if he says he's serious about something, he means it. And this is something that was a direct threat to the national interest of the United States, and the president addressed it.
There you go.
There's a president of peace, by the way. I told you what I just said earlier. This guy had multiple opportunities to find his way somewhere else and figure out another. He could have been living somewhere else right now, very happy, but instead he wanted to play big boy. And so now, you know, he's got other sets of problems on his hands. And but I think the message here should be for the world. Look, the president doesn't go out looking for people to pick fights with. He's not generally wants to get along with everybody. We'll talk and meet with anybody, but don't play games. Don't play games with this president's in office, because it's not going to turn out well. And so I hope that I guess that lesson was learned last night, and we hope it'll be instructive moving forward.
Okay, well, that's pretty good.
And that's exactly what everybody needs to hear, right? Because you have people that are out in the streets now that are saying, "Oh, well, Trump is being unconstitutional. He's going." You have Congress people saying that he's usurped the congressional authority of war.
Okay, but how quickly they forget, for example, Lincoln Riley killed by a Venezuelan,
exactly.
Right? Or the fact that ICE arrested Raul Paragas Rodriguez, a 31-year-old alien and foreign fugitive from Venezuela. He's wanted for attempted aggravated femicide for allegedly carrying out a violent Russian roulette-style attack on an innocent woman. I'm reading directly from an ICE report. Mm-hmm. These are the types of Venezuelans that have come over here. That's exactly what Marco Rubio is saying. He has basically, and Trump made it clear in his remarks too, he opened up the prison gates and allowed these people to come out of them and cross the border freely, assisted them in doing so into our country to wreak havoc. Everybody knows about what Trent DeRagua did in taking over apartment buildings in Colorado. We know that they're here in our own city of Chicago. And we're just supposed to turn a blind eye and let this guy continue to operate? I don't think so.
No, not at all. And going back to some of these protesters and even the Congress people are saying that he usurped his war power. The Congress's war power. And under Article 2 of the Constitution, the president Congress has the power to declare war on nations. But everybody who's out protesting, trying to mimic what these politically inept Congress people are saying, they're completely ignoring what the Supreme Court precedent is. In the 1930s, the Curtis-Wright Export Code case basically said that all foreign affairs power is inherently executive. So what President Trump did, anything less of declaring war is essentially okay. This was a small scale, short invasion to directly get somebody who was indicted by the United States government. This is not unheard of. It is not unprecedented. This is entirely within President Trump's power. And if you're complaining about it, it's purely because you do not like President Trump. It has nothing to do with powers or anything like that, because he was completely in the right. In fact, this military operation was done so well that it took less time to get Maduro out than it did for Will Byers and Stranger Things to come out as gay.
All right, with that, we're going to take a short break here. We'll be right back. We're going to talk more about this topic. I got a little clip from a Noriega documentary, which I think is the precedent-setting case for President Trump to go in and take Maduro. We're going to talk about that some more. We've got another clip from a Venezuelan migrant who explains to Americans why the country needed a regime change. And we're going to talk about, oh my gosh, this shameful Facebook message from a Kane County board member. Wow, these Democrats are unhinged. This is The Real Story with Jeannie Ives. Joining me here is Kevin Phares. We'll be right back.
82 million Americans rely on AM radio for news, sports, talk, and emergency alerts. But unless Congress acts now, AM could disappear from new cars. Tell lawmakers AM radio matters to you. Text AM to 39179 and urge Congress to pass the AM Radio for Every Vehicle Act before it's too late.
Message and data rates may apply. You may receive up to 4 messages a month, and you may text STOP to stop.
This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
Hello, everyone. It's Tom, the founder of Freedom Boat Clubs of Michiana, now with 9 wonderful locations across Northwest Indiana and beautiful Southwest Michigan. With the holidays upon us, it's a perfect time to reflect on what matters most in our lives. Few of us will ever wish we'd spent more time at work. As the old saying goes, time spent on the water will not be subtracted from our lifespan, so just how precious is that boating time? At Freedom Boat Club, we make boating simple and accessible for everyone. Just join the club and get unlimited free training plus unlimited boat usage when you want. No hassles, no complications, just quality time on the water with the people you love the most. Time is money, and Freedom Boat Club is perhaps the most efficient way to experience boating and create unforgettable memories together. For more information, please call me at 269-281-8889 or visit fbcmichiana.com. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, everyone.
Salem News Channel, your go-to source for news and conservative opinion. We reveal how politics hits home, how your family, your freedoms, your way of life are debated, challenged, even regulated. Every day we cut through the noise, pitting nonsense against common sense. On every screen, in every home, Salem News Channel is across America.
Make sure that you never miss a day of Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft when you subscribe to the Chicago's Morning Answer podcast, presented by Signature Bank. Listen to the entire show each day on demand with limited commercial breaks. You can subscribe today for free at 560theanswer.com and click on podcasts, or search for Chicago's Morning Answer on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Now, more of The Real Story with your host, Jeannie Ives.
All right. Welcome back. Joining me on co-hosting with me is Kevin Phares, of course, and we are still on the Maduro capture. And, of course, there's a lot of parallels to Noriega. And I pulled this from a documentary that was done about 9 years ago, and I think it's informative to understand who Noriega is. And then we can talk about who Maduro is as well. Take a listen.
In Panama, the only election that really counts is when the army colonels decide that one of them will rule the roost. In 1983, Noriega, apparently a CIA agent, took over after his predecessor had died in a mysterious plane crash. In American eyes, he was a valuable piece on the Central American chessboard. Noriega maintained contact with Fidel Castro in communist Cuba and fed information to Washington. He became a key ally in the Reagan-Bush administration's secret war in Nicaragua. Today, the charge is that the U.S. administration turned a blind eye to Noriega's drug profiteering in return for his help in the war against communism. If so, it was a cozy relationship that has now turned very sour.
General Noriega was responsible for allowing the drug dealers to use his country as a transit point, as a point to protect themselves. He would provide intelligence as to where law enforcement was. He would provide his banking system as a financial network to launder the drug proceeds of the drug dealers. And in fact, when the Minister of Justice was killed in Colombia, he in fact provided protection to the drug lords during the time period in which Colombian law enforcement was looking for the drug lords.
Colombian drug gangs control around 3/4 of cocaine smuggling to the United States and Europe. The leading drug barons are the so-called Medellin cartel. From their hometown, they've set up smuggling routes worldwide. According to U.S. investigators, Panama was a transit point for cocaine shipments in the early 80s, with light aircraft flying the drugs to airstrips at Coronado and Calzada Larga.
Okay, so I wanted to play the first part of that clip because I wanted to be fair here. There's no doubt that there is some differences, like Noriega was a CIA agent providing intel to the United States in their wars down in El Salvador and Nicaragua. Okay, we get that. However, there's no doubt that they're similar in that they were both drug runners and protecting drug cartels, and actually, critical members of those cartels for them to do the damage that they did. And so this piece I felt was pretty good. Nicholas Creel, writing in the Wall Street Journal, essentially says that, Bush ordered U.S. troops into Panama to capture Noriega, the country's de facto military dictator, on federal drug trafficking charges. That is the same situation that we have here with Maduro. Like Maduro, Noriega had been indicted by a U.S. grand jury. So Maduro was indicted by a U.S. grand jury. Like the Venezuelan operation, the Panama invasion occurred without congressional authorization, very similar. And like what we now will now happen with Maduro, Noriega was forcibly brought to the U.S. and prosecuted in federal court. He was convicted and imprisoned. That is likely the same thing that's going to happen here. So he was, indicted on racketeering, drug trafficking, and money laundering. Those charges are very similar to the ones we have with Maduro. We have precedents for this. And in any case, this Wall Street Journal article basically goes through the whole situation and says at every turn, the courts supported U.S. intervention in taking out Noriega, bringing him to justice. Mm-hmm. He was in prison for 17 years. Then he was extradited to France, and he died, I think, about 8 years ago or so.
Yeah, and you're right. And it's like what we said in the first segment as well. There is unbelievable amounts of precedent for this. I've been down to Panama, actually, and I've seen it. I wasn't as politically, it was over a decade now, so I wasn't as politically natured as I am now. But when I talked to locals down there, they talked about U.S. intervention down there, and they had no issue with taking out the president. The only complaint that they ever had about the Americans was that some soldiers came, and then when they left, kind of hurt some of the nature and the land around there. That was the only thing. But all of them were incredibly happy that we were able to ensure that their local economy would still be stimulated by the Panama Canal, that they'd still be able to help out the rest of the world in that sense, that we were able to restore a sense of democracy and not have this essential dictator running it. There are very few arguments against this kind of behavior, against going after Maduro, going after the Panamanian at that point.
Oh, no. There are a lot of people offended by the fact that we took out Maduro. And you pulled a clip from a Venezuelan migrant who was explaining to Americans exactly what a hellhole she came from. Let's take a listen to that.
I heard you're from Venezuela.
Yes, I'm come from Venezuela.
And you don't agree with any of these people here, right?
No, I'm not agree. I'm not agree with Trump because Trump helped to my country obtain the libertad.
Can I ask you, there's a bunch of Americans here who have never
lived in a communist and socialist country with a socialist government.
So Americans are protesting here against the arrest of Maduro. They've never been to Venezuela before in their life, and you have, but they stand against the Venezuelan people. How do you feel about that?
I feel happy. We're happy. We're happy.
Merida, or in Margarita Island, or in the Llanos. How do the people in the Llanos feel about that?
Are you living?
I'm asking you the
No,
question.
I'm asking you.
Have you been to Venezuela? Have you been to Venezuela?
For the last 21 years in Venezuela with a communist and socialist government.
So,
your guys have idea.
Let me give you some advice. Let me give you some advice. Yeah.
Okay, so we get the picture there. Yep. Like she's being confronted by obviously liberal, probably white Americans who have no clue what it's like to live under communism.
Oh, 100%. And so I want to give a quick shout out to David Kate, Khait. He's a buddy of mine. He's an influencer. He goes out and he does a lot of great interviews with protesters like this. And what you heard there was an actual Venezuelan immigrant, legal immigrant, who came over here arguing with a liberal white guy, heavy-set, older liberal white guy.
Of course, they all are. I mean, that's all you see at the No King's March.
And
like,
yeah,
what the hell?
Exactly. And he's saying, trying to tell the Venezuelan immigrant who is happy about the capture of Maduro, who is happy about the liberation of her people, trying to tell her that she's wrong. The entitlement that comes with making an argument like that, and it makes me think, where do these people get their information? Where do they get their news? Well, it has to be the indoctrination that we have from your lamestream media sources that are telling them that everything Trump does is bad, whether or not it is actually good for the world, like in this instance. And that's what made me think, Jeannie, I was like, is there any good argument as to why we shouldn't have taken out Maduro? And I would say there is one, and it doesn't outweigh the rest, but there is one. And it's if you're purely an isolationist, if you truly believe that America should only focus on itself and nothing else. That's the best argument, but even that has a hole poked in it when you consider the fact that this is that doing so, that taking out Maduro was only for the benefit of America.
Well, absolutely. I mean, you do have some folks saying that that's not very America first to kind of go into this foray and then essentially tell people that you're going to run the country. And so a lot of people are suspicious that this isn't really about drugs. This is about controlling their oil, controlling their natural resources, which they have quite a bit. They have vast resources of it. And we'll get to that later, but because I'm running out of time. But I did want to mention something here. I was alerted by, you'll hear him later in the show, but John Kraft, Edgar County Watchdog, sent me this post from Michelle Gumz, G-U-M-Z. She's a Kane County board member, and she literally wrote on her Facebook, and it's still up there, Russia, if you're listening, we could use some regime change in the United States. I mean, talk about a traitor.
Wacko, quite frankly, big wacko. TDS, Trump derangement syndrome. She's got it.
On steroids, but she's governing in Kane County. Voters wake up. Okay, we'll be right back. We've got Jim Iuorio on about the 2026 economic forecast.
Mike Gallagher stands up to the bullies.
I think this boils down to recognizing the actual evil that we're facing. It is absolute evil to attack Erica Kirk. There's no gray area here. You want to sit around and attack a grieving widow who just months ago lost her husband. You're rotten to the core. Your soul is gone.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9 on AM 560. The Answer.
News. I'm Paul Stevens. Members of Congress sharply divided on Saturday's capture of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and his wife to face U.S. drug charges. House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries on NBC's Meet the Press.
The healthcare system is broken. Donald Trump refuses to do anything about it to address the Republican healthcare crisis. So the notion that he's going to run Venezuela and make life better for the Venezuelan people, of course, is belied by the facts as to what he's done as president here in the United States of America.
The White House, meantime, defending the action.
To see him brought to justice is incredibly satisfying for those families that have to live without their loved ones today because of the crimes that he's committed for decades.
Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem on Fox News Sunday. Nicolas Maduro due in court tomorrow in New York City. America's listening to Fox News.
Your local State Farm agent Anthony DeGrotto combines good neighbor service with surprisingly great rates. You can combine your home, auto, and life insurance to not only save you money, but give you the peace of mind you've been looking for. Anthony DeGrotto is your go-to agent in Chicagoland. He and his team will work for you to provide the best service you expect at the price you want. Combine your home, auto, and life insurance today. Anthony DeGrotto will help you mix and match things perfectly. His State Farm office is a top pick 2024 Daily Herald Reader's Choice Award winner. He's a proud supporter of Tunnel to Towers and like-minded as you. His State Farm agency is currently looking to add members at their Roselle office. Call Anthony at 847-895-1500 today or visit DeGrottoSF.com. That's DeGrottoSF.com. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Individual premiums will vary by customer. All applicants subject to State Farm underwriting requirements.
Hi, I'm Ken Mariotti, owner of Woodland Windows and Doors, a third-generation family-owned business since 1969. We know you're bombarded by choices when shopping for new windows or doors, so we're inviting you to experience the Woodland difference. For decades, we have been transforming living spaces with Marvin Windows, a fifth-generation family business. Marvin replacement windows have been known to increase the warmth of your cold rooms by 10 degrees. Think about that, 10 degrees warmer. When you welcome Woodland into your home, you will get a product expert to transform your living spaces, full-time, dedicated professional installers that you can trust in your home, along with the best products like Marvin. These are the reasons we're proud of our 5-star reviews and family legacy. No gimmicks, no pressure, and upfront pricing are why Woodland Windows and Doors is your trusted window and door expert in Chicagoland. Visit woodlandwindows.com to book your free in-home expert consultation. That's woodlandwindows.com or stop by our showroom at the corner of Lake and Geary in Roselle.
So Pure Talk just had their best year ever and asked me if I'd like to thank their customers on their behalf for being so awesome. I said sure. It's important to say thanks, especially this time of year, which is why, as one of their many satisfied customers, I should probably thank Pure Talk first for keeping their customer service in this country and for providing hundreds of American jobs. I appreciate that. I also appreciate their Roundup program, which makes it easy to support America's Warrior Partnership and join the fight against veteran suicide. And I love that Pure Talk donated 1,000 hand-sewn Made in America flags to veterans around Independence Day. And of course, I really appreciate their generous support of my own foundation, MicroWorks, and their commitment to help us train the next generation of skilled workers. Having said all that, it's now my pleasure, on behalf of everyone at Pure Talk, to thank you sincerely for choosing to do business with an American wireless company that actually stands for something. And one more thing. Happy New Year.
You need a construction company, but who?
Call Crosscom.
A construction company you can trust that shares your Christian and conservative values. For decades, Crosscom has been doing work in Chicagoland, Northwest Indiana, and Wisconsin. Roofs, siding, windows, doors, gutters, basically everything for your home or business, even solar. Quality work and professional services that make you feel great about your decision to work with Crosscom.
Call Crosscom.
630-871-5500. Give them a chance to earn your business. If your repairs are due to storm, fire, or flood damage, you need to
call Crosscom.
They're licensed public adjusters. They work for you, not the insurance company. Crosscom will work to get you the money you deserve, the maximum payout. They know the insurance companies and how to deal with them. They win for you.
Call Crosscom.
Crosscom Construction and Public Adjusters.
This is Dan Lights with Crosscom. You can trust us with your home or business for high-quality work and fair prices. It's the only way we do business.
630-871-5500. CrosscomPublicAdjusters.com.
Now, more of The Real Story with your host, Jeannie Ives.
We got Jim, right? All right. Welcome back. This is Jeannie Ives, getting back in the groove of things after our long break. We did do a tape program, but it was new information last week, and we try to continue to do that. We don't try to do just repeat topics. And so we're back. We're here live. Our phone number here is 312-642-5600 if you want to weigh in on the conversation. And I'm joined with my co-host, Kevin Phares, today. But right now, we're going to turn our attention to something that is, I think, on most people's mind, and actually is going to be on their mind when they go to the polls November 3rd of this year and decide who they're going to vote for. And that is, of course, our economy. It's always the economy, stupid, right? And so here to join us is Jim Iuorio. He is the managing director of the TJM Instructional Services and a veteran futures and options trader. He is also the owner of Brandt's Restaurant in Palatine, which I appreciate that he's a small business owner and needs to know how the rubber meets the road when it comes to the economy at a real juncture. He's not just some sort of somebody who just knows it in theory or just trades on it. He actually works it himself. He also is a partner on the Futures Edge podcast, and he joins us right now. Jim, thanks so much for joining me on The Real Story.
Thank you for having me, Jenny. Appreciate it.
Yeah. So, let's kind of just go back to 2025, and the predictions were that, inflation wasn't going to come down necessarily. If I remember, I think the predictions are that the economy wasn't going to grow as much as it did, and it seemed to have done pretty well in 2025.
So in the beginning of 2025, I thought 2025 was going to be a tumultuous year economically, just by virtue of the fact that we were ushering in a new president and an entirely different economic system. And change can be difficult. I thought inflation would not be a problem, and I thought the nonsense that tariffs were this huge inflationary thing that was going to wreck the economy was stupid, and I said so many, many times along the way. Now, I did think there'd be somewhat of a recession, and I was wrong about that. But I was wrong in that I genuinely believe this whole K-shaped recovery thing that's happened since the $10 trillion was injected into the economy in 2020 and 2021 has benefited the top 30%, the people who hold assets, and the bottom 60% who have no assets are not participating in it. And that's, I think, one of the reasons why we see sentiment numbers like the Michigan sentiment going down at the same time the stock market was going up, which, by the way, that's never really happened before. So that's kind of indicative of something, a big change. And I think it is a bifurcation of the economy. Now, 2026, I have a lot of higher hopes for, but not necessarily for the state of Illinois. And I'm sorry, that's not necessarily what people want to hear here.
Oh, my gosh. Well, yeah. Well, you know what? Look, I'm hoping for a good economy for everybody, but if it prompts people to vote out Pritzker, that would be fine with me too. So, how about affordability? I mean, in general, what do you think is going to happen with the inflation rate this year?
So I think the inflation rate is going to stay relatively low. I think 2026 is going to be a confluence of a couple things. First of all, tax cuts. I think tax cuts, no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, way that small businesses expense things. There's a lot of changes that are excellent for the economic condition. But more importantly, for the inflation part of it, I believe that deregulation, we kind of call it fighting inflation from the supply side. If we make it easier for companies to build, like think about the housing lack of affordability. There's two different elements that go into it. One is obviously that mortgage rates went from 2.5% to 7.5% in 10 months' time, meaning people like me will clutch onto their 2.8% mortgage like grim death and never let it leave their hands. Right. But also think about the regulation that goes into building anywhere near any blue state, blue city, and it's mile high. That's why nobody can build a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom starter home anymore, because the first $80,000 are probably regulatory stuff. Now that's just thumbnail. I don't know exactly what it is, but it's very, very close to that, if that makes sense.
Well, in Illinois, that's 10 years worth of property taxes, $80,000, right? So you better factor that in too.
Right. Yeah, and then throw in the fact that Illinois has tax that's like 3% of the value of their home, the highest property taxes in the nation. Yeah, when the national average is 0.9% of the value of your home. So it's pretty infuriating.
Yeah, it is. Okay, so, the big, beautiful bill obviously extended the tax cuts and actually made it even better for us all. I think that's a good thing. But wouldn't you have liked to have this set up? Like, okay, you blue state senators, because there's two in each state, right? If your blue state senators voted against the big, beautiful bill, guess what? You don't get the tax cuts extended. I mean, we love these laboratories of democracy that states are. Wouldn't it be kind of fun to have like an A/B test? Let's see how this works out for everybody whose economy does better. You'd have like a real test. Do we need that sort of thing? It's fun to think about, right?
I'll go you one step better. That I think that, okay, this, I'm not trying to get too far into the weeds, but this is about the autonomy of states and the bond market. And the bond market is fun and sexy for people listening. Don't think it's boring. So the problem here is that when a state is as poorly run as Illinois and a city like Chicago, what usually is supposed to happen is that no one will lend them money, i.e. buy their bonds, and rates go through the roof. But what has happened, and this goes to your point about states shouldn't be bailed out by the federal government, that our bonds, I believe, trade with a federal government implicit guarantee, meaning federal government's not going to let Illinois go bust. They're going to bail them out, probably even with Donald Trump, although it's less likely with Donald Trump than it would be for a Democrat president. But to your point, each state is supposed to be a microcosm of policies, and if you have stupid policies, you should win stupid prizes, and people should leave and go to Indiana and Iowa. And I know they are, but if it happened a lot faster and it happened 20 years ago, we probably would have enough time to right our problems, if that makes sense.
Well, I mean, honestly, they are probably thinking about trying another graduate income tax referendum this year in the state of Illinois. I mean, I would not be shocked at all.
Because they need more money, Jeannie. Of course they need more of our money. They never once mentioned that they might cut $1 in spending. It's just that they don't have enough money. There's no fiscal crisis in Illinois. Sorry, I'm cutting you off.
Yeah, no, I mean, what's going to happen on the how about jobs? Are we going to be okay on jobs? Or, I mean, I've got a lot of my daughter's friends are all graduating from college this year, and are they going to have jobs?
The one part of the economy that I don't love right now is the labor market, and it is soft. And I actually attribute it more so to the promise of AI than a lot of other economic analysts are doing. And I say the promise of AI because I think in the end, AI is not going to be able to do all the things that these companies think it's going to be able to do. But I think they've slowed hiring in anticipation that, okay, we're going to use AI and make everyone more productive. So I think it's going to backfire on them. But in the medium term, I do think jobs are going to be difficult to come by.
Okay.
Because a lot of these bigger companies, are not hiring.
All right. Two other things. Are stocks in a bubble or not, and what's going to happen with crypto, which I don't understand anything about, but I was having a conversation with somebody last night. They're invested in it, and they're just like, it's still rocking it.
Yeah, so let's go with the stock part first because that makes more sense. I mean, I do own Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, but I own it for different reasons than most. When institutions started getting into it, like BlackRock, I just kind of piggybacked on that trade, and that's why I got into it. So the fundamental workings of crypto, I still don't understand. To me, but again, I will say that if you are really trying to fashion a substitute for fiat currencies, and we all know the stewardship of our fiat currencies has been just awful. We have deficits up to the eyeballs. The stock market now, I think, is interesting.
Well, can't we just go take Venezuelan gold now?
Let's go right now. So,
and their oil.
I thought I was. You talked earlier in the show about Venezuela. I could go on all night about Venezuela. Because oil right now, by the way, is steady. So right now in the futures markets, so meaning that the oil market does not think this is a tremendously big deal.
Okay.
But the stock market, there's a couple things working in the stock market's favor, and a couple of them we just mentioned from an economic standpoint. Remember, the stock market doesn't always necessarily have to reflect the economy, but I think the economy is in for some good blue skies in 2026, provided the labor market can restructure and get a little stronger. Now, the one thing I do love for the stock market is that the new Fed chair is going to be more dovish, and that means lower rates, easier monetary policies, because Trump is going to engineer that himself with one of the two Kevins. Now, the stock market, people will always say the stock market likes the low interest rates. That's not 100% true. What the stock market really likes is low interest rates if they think they're slightly lower than the actual economic condition dictates. And I think that's what's going to happen. But I don't think inflation is going to come screaming back because of productivity gains with AI and supply-side solutions. Whew, take a breath. Okay.
All right. Well, my co-host here, Kevin, had a question for you, Jim.
Yeah, so I've heard very similar to what you're talking about, where the job market is not great, and it's unfortunate for students that are just coming out of college. But I am curious, for those that do have jobs, this year is when we'll finally get to see how no tax on tips and no tax on overtime actually gets implemented. Do you think that will have as substantial of an effect on people working and maybe how they'll vote? And what will you see in the economy from that?
So I think it's a good deal. But now I will say this, is that a lot of the tipped employees in this state make a good deal of money to begin with. I am for every tax break you can think of, because I think the federal government and the Illinois government's problems are they have too much money, not too little. And I want to see them get less money without any question. So do I think it'll have a significant economic effect? I think mildly so, but it could have a more significant voting effect, like you said, particularly if the states that have already said that they're going to try to claw back that tax on tips, and Illinois, I believe, is one of them.
Yes.
I think people are going to get really irritated by that, and I think it will change voting patterns. Maybe not enough to swing Illinois to be Republican, but it could change it a bit.
Well, maybe you can just let it swing. I mean, I don't even know how your own employees vote, but I mean, so where the rubber meets the road in your restaurant, how does that actually work? No tax on tips, especially when you have a split between the federal and the state reporting of it. Do you even know yet?
I don't. I have no idea.
Right, exactly. This is a real like a conundrum.
Yeah, you're going to get homework from the answer tonight.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah, and if I'm just going to put that question on our accountants. We have a great team of accountants. They're going to figure that thing out, so I can concentrate on how to make the best hamburger in Illinois.
Awesome. Sounds great. All right. Hey, Jim, thanks so much for joining us on The Real Story, and we appreciate you.
Pleasure's mine. Thank you guys very much, and Happy New Year.
All right, you too. We'll be right back. This is The Real Story with Jeannie Ives.
Well, look at you.
You look handsome in that suit.
Sorry, no time for pleasantries. I have a very important meeting. What's with all the forms and charts? I'm meeting with the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission?
Why?
To register Penny Mustard's Spencer bedroom as a security.
I'm sorry, what?
Think about it. How do we build the Spencer bedroom? With solid wood construction.
Forever type bed brackets.
And drawer bottoms strong enough to stand on. And how long will it last?
For generations.
And furniture that lasts for generations is worth
more money in the future.
So you're saying the Spencer bedroom is a hedge against inflation?
I gotta say, you've had a lot of weird ideas.
Yeah?
But this one might just work.
The Spencer bedroom, American made with queen bed, dresser, mirror, and nightstand. starting at $62.22 at Penny Mustard.
6 Chicagoland showrooms.
PennyMustard.com.
Better versions of what people want.
Penny Mustard Furnishing.
The fight against sexual exploitation begins at home. Sexual exploitation is no longer a distant issue. It's happening here in our communities, schools, and even our homes. Every day, millions of Americans are targeted and trapped through manipulation, coercion, and deception. Sexploited in America, The Invisible War is a powerful docuseries exposing the hidden systems and cultural blind spots that allow exploitation to thrive, and gives a voice to the survivors and families forever changed by it. Raw, unfiltered, deeply human, these stories reveal both the devastating realities of exploitation and the extraordinary courage of those who refuse to be silenced. Sexploited in America, the docuseries is presented by AGA Media and available to everyone now at salemnow.com.
Making the switch to a new communications and IT company may seem like a big ordeal, but if you're not getting the reliable support, consistent internet, and secure solutions your company needs, meet Access One, your local Chicagoland IT experts. Access One has been powering Chicago businesses with secure, reliable IT solutions for over 30 years from our headquarters right here in the West Loop. Whether it's VoIP phones, dedicated internet, managed cybersecurity, cloud backups, or 24/7 support, Access One is here for you. Serving thousands of companies from Naperville to the North Shore, Access One is Chicago-owned and Chicago-run, a trusted IT partner for law firms, clinics, tech startups to manufacturers. We'll make the switch easier than you think. Let's talk. Call 800-804-8333 or visit accessoneInc.com. Rated top 5% in customer satisfaction and a Better Business Bureau A+ rated business. That's accessoneInc.com. Tech made personal, locally.
Twitchy.com brings you the latest in social news, highlighting and reacting to important conversations from America's most prominent journalists, politicians, and celebrities. Twitchy's kinetic group of editors deliver fast and amusing content around the clock to tell you who said what in global and political news, sports, entertainment, and media. If it's news, they're on it. If it should be news, they're ahead of it. Stay connected to the newswire of the 21st century with Twitchy.com. Twitchy.com.
Welcome back to Ask Hassleus.
What's the secret to your success?
Clean living, hard work, and no employees.
No employees?
At Hassleus, give our mattresses a try with no pushy sales guy.
Nobody breathing down my neck?
Plus, way low prices, free next day delivery, and through Monday, get a free box spring or $300 off an adjustable base with the purchase of any queen or king size Beauty Rest or Sealy Posturepedic mattress.
You could say Hassleus is an overnight success.
Hassleus.com.
We now return to the real story. Here's your host, Jeannie Ives.
Welcome back. Thanks for joining me tonight. Here with me is Kevin Phares.
Hello.
Yeah, very good. He's still on school break from where he's a law student with Liberty University. So phone number here, 312-642-5600. And Kevin, you wanted to talk about, and Eduardo's on the phone. We're going to get to Eduardo in just a moment. But because Eduardo, I hope you're listening because we want your response to this. Kevin was talking about, really wanted to discuss New Year's resolutions.
New Year's resolution.
Is this just an American thing, by the way?
I don't know. I actually do not know if it's...
I was just thinking about that.
I bet Venezuelans have a lot of resolutions for their New Year.
I imagine they do.
But I've always found, and I'll start off with this, I think if having a New Year's resolution is what motivates you to make a change for the better, go for it. Just like I say, if having Lent is what motivates you to make a change for the better, go for it. But you do not need the new year to better yourself. But it is that time that everybody's talking about it. And I love telling my story because I've been told that it helps motivate others. When I was about 2.5 years ago, so like 22, 23, I was about 80 pounds heavier.
Oh my goodness.
And I had my mindset was that no matter what I did, I could never lose weight. And I'm not going to try to pitch you a lot of conservative shows will try to pitch you some new drug that's going to help you lose weight. But here's the drug I'm going to tell you about: diet and exercise. And that's what you can do if that's your problem. But ultimately, now I'm down 70-ish pounds.
Wow.
Well, 80 almost.
You carried it well, 'cause I don't
down.
remember that
Yeah.
about you.
Well, I wore the right clothes, and when you're bigger, you learn to do that. But I lost a good amount of weight, and then I gained a little bit more now in muscle, and I've been working out. I ran cumulative for 7 days straight. I track it on my watch. If you add up all the time I spent running in 2025, it was 7 days and 4 hours. So I ran over 1,000 miles. It was, and I feel so much better about myself. I look in the mirror and I like what I see. And I attribute a lot of this not only to my own change of mindset, but also to ideas and thoughts that I learned from people like Charlie Kirk. And he just came out with his new book, To Remember the Sabbath. I haven't had a chance to read it yet. But what I want everybody to think about is, what are you going to do in this new year, or what do you want to change about yourself? Everybody looks in the mirror. Everybody has a thought of, what do I want to do better? Is it that I want to make sure I'm in church every Sunday? Is it that I want to lose 20, 30, 40, 50 pounds? Is it that I want to quit smoking, quit drinking, quit something, or do something better for yourself? I want to read a book every week or every few weeks. There are so many things that you could be doing to better yourself, and I believe it is God's mission for us to be as close to him as possible. And to do that, you can do something every single day to do that.
I got to tell you, over the break, I had 4 out of 5 kids were in, 3 out of 5 grandchildren were in, and our house was full, and it was great. And, you know, we had a lot of stuff going on. The youngest grandchild got baptized. We had multiple people at our house all the time. It was a very active household. And I just literally could not find the time to, like, post regularly. I literally didn't look at email or post anything for 10 days. Total break.
Yeah,
like
but
that
you
is
were spending time
almost
with your
unheard,
family, though.
Almost unheard of. Oh yeah, cooking and like you know playing with the grandkids. So I really was,
which
but
is
no,
fruitful.
It's
in
great.
And of
It
itself.
is absolutely. It was awesome. But it does, like, maybe the way that Charlie's, like, basically he put his phone down 1 day a week
And
Didn't tou-
exactly,
didn't touch it. I think that's
to get
important.
everybody just in the mindset, because that's all it is. It's mindset. I at one point thought to myself, I can't do this. What I realized is, if you look into your head and you think, I can't do this, I can't lose weight, I don't have time to do X, Y, Z, really that almost always translates to is, I don't want to, and I don't want to make the time.
Right.
Because
I was kind of working
whether
on my,
you think you can or you can't, you're right, and it's true.
I mean, I fell off the wagon. My son got married in August, and I was kind of working out, like most people do, a big event. You like want to look good for the pictures, whatever, and then I just really fell off the wagon on that one.
And
Maybe
that
I'll get back
happens.
on
It's
that.
totally
Yeah.
fine to fall, but pick
no.
yourself back up. I know we have Eduardo on the phone.
Yeah,
don't
we had Eduardo on the phone. Eduardo's calling in from Tampa Bay. Eduardo, welcome to The Real Story. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, well, I got to comment on the big story over the weekend. Obviously, I'm very happy that this, I've been telling the national shows and local shows, we got to get rid of Maduro. This is key to not only the drug thing, but immigration. Remember the caravans that went through the Darien Pass in Panama? Yeah. So it's not just domestic enforcement, but it also has to be the international enforcement. And this is what happened Friday night into Saturday morning. So this is happy. I know we're going to probably do a second wave. And it's too early for Mrs. Maria Conchata to take power. We have to have a stable government, just like we did with Noriega. And then either her or Gonzalez can take over, and, good things can flourish with rebuilding this country.
Eduardo, I caught a clip of a bunch of Venezuelans who were in Doral, Florida, celebrating, and they were showing clips
I saw
of
that,
that.
Yeah.
Is that the general feeling, or have you noticed anything
Yeah,
like that? Because
especially
we've
Florida,
seen in
sure.
Chicago is what we saw in Chicago was literal protests by Hispanic groups, believe it or not, and of course their white leftist buddies, marching down Chicago, protesting this. It's like, what did they? Did they already have their flags prepared for this one and their posters?
Well, this is they get on social media, just like you do with the flash mobs. Let's go into downtown and protest.
Right.
The No Kings March. This is a continuation of that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So do you think they actually know what they're protesting, Eduardo?
No. This is something that's been fed. I called another station that somebody else calls our station over here, and they reference NPR, some progressive stations. So their mind is all set because their materials listen to PBS, NPR. They don't diversify their. I listen to everything: Spanish, European news, PBS, left, right. I listen to everything, and I analyze it good. And it doesn't brainwash me.
And I know we are
coming
coming up against a break here real quick, but as fast as you can, what is your background, to be clear?
Right. I love the fact that you're calling to my show.
I was born in Chicago, but yeah, my parents are from Mexico.
Okay. So
awesome.
you have a close enough relation. So thank you for your call, Eduardo.
Thanks a lot.
Yep. Thank you very much.
All right. We're going to be right back, and we have a special guest. We're going to have Scott Presler on to talk about what he's up to and what he's doing. He will be in Lake County, Indiana this coming Friday. You can buy tickets. We're going to give you all the details on that. He and Seth Gruber, and I will be a panelist alongside them as well for a big Reagan rally on getting out the vote.
Don't risk losing the news, sports, and weather that AM radio delivers. When cell and internet service fail, AM is your lifeline. With time running out, your voice matters. Text AM to 39179 and tell Congress vote yes on the AM Radio for Every Vehicle Act to keep AM radio in cars.
Message and data rates may apply. You may receive up to 4 messages a month, and you may text STOP to stop.
This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
You need to be tuning into the Retirement Success Blueprint with Michael Stewart, the radio companion to the Amazon best-selling book, Success Blueprint, How to Build the Retirement You Deserve. Each week, Michael shares strategies designed to help reduce market risk through income-generating investments that can provide steady returns. Because if you can avoid a big loss, you don't need to take big risks. Catch the Retirement Success Blueprint with Michael Stewart, Saturday mornings at 10, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
News, opinion, insight. This is AM 560, The Answer. WIND, Chicago. Streaming at 560theanswer.com on the AM 560 mobile app, or tell your smart speaker to play The Answer.
Court proceedings on Monday. I'm Paul Stevens, Fox News. Arraignment tomorrow in New York City for former Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro. Still, though, many with mixed reaction about the Trump administration's capture of that dictator. Fox's C.B. Cotton at the Brooklyn Detention Center where Maduro was being held.
The support for the U.S. military action has largely fallen along party lines, and we know New York City Democratic Socialist Mayor Zohran Mamdani said he directly called President Trump yesterday to criticize the Venezuelan strikes. New York State Attorney General Letitia James wrote on X yesterday, Maduro was a brutal dictator who caused pain and suffering, while adding that she also believes in the Constitution and as such, quote, I am deeply concerned with the administration's continued abuse of the rule of law. It's unlikely that any of this opposition will have any impact because this is a federal case against Maduro. The DOJ's 4-count superseding indictment accuses him and his allies of turning Venezuela into a drug pipeline to flood the U.S. with, quote, thousands of tons of cocaine.
And that's Fox's C.B. Cotton. Airlines now scrambling to help passengers whose plans had to be disrupted as a result of the U.S. operation in Venezuela. Service slowly, gradually returning after Secretary of Transportation Sean Duffy had to close off the airspace in the region on Saturday night. American, United, Delta, all scheduling additional flights across the Caribbean airspace today. At least 30 people are reported dead after gunmen raided a village in northern Nigeria. That's according to area police. Attackers stormed the area Saturday night, opening fire on residents, burning homes, and also burning a local market. Locals say the number of dead could be higher. Several people missing, others abducted, including children. America is listening to Fox News.
Now, your official weather forecast.
Tonight will be partly cloudy with a low of 29. On Monday, expect times of clouds and sun with a high of 42. Monday night will be mostly cloudy with a low of 35. Tuesday will bring mostly cloudy skies with areas of drizzle and a high of 43. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
Attention, hut! Listen up and listen up good. If you're tired of run-of-the-mill gifts, then get on over to aviatorfuel.com. You'll find unique military-style cocktail books and barware to go with it. At aviatorfuel.com, we've got the perfect gift for any soldier, sailor, Marine, or just red-blooded American. You'll especially love our military cocktail checklists, modeled off the real Army, Navy, and Marine pilot checklists that military aviators have used for decades. These award-winning books are authentic replicas, but instead of a procedure on how to handle an engine fire, you'll find the procedure for how to make a mojito, written with military jargon throughout. So pick up a cocktail checklist from aviatorfuel.com. Invite some old friends to share war stories over cocktails. Your perfect libation is inside the cocktail checklist. And don't forget matching military-themed barware. Go to aviatorfuel.com and get ready to raise a glass to the brave men and women who serve our country. That's aviatorfuel.com.
The fight against sexual exploitation begins at home. Sexual exploitation is no longer a distant issue. It's happening here in our communities, schools, and even our homes. Every day, millions of Americans are targeted and trapped through manipulation, coercion, and deception. Sexploited in America, The Invisible War is a powerful docuseries exposing the hidden systems and cultural blind spots that allow exploitation to thrive, and gives a voice to the survivors and families forever changed by it. Raw, unfiltered, deeply human, these stories reveal both the devastating realities of exploitation and the extraordinary courage of those who refuse to be silenced. Sexploited in America, the docuseries is presented by AGA Media and available to everyone now at salemnow.com.
Don't risk losing the news, sports, and weather that AM radio delivers. When SAL and internet service fail, AM is your lifeline. With time running out, your voice matters. Text AM to 39179 and tell Congress vote yes on the AM Radio for Every Vehicle Act to keep AM radio in cars.
Message and data rates may apply. You may receive up to 4 messages a month, and you may text STOP to stop.
This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
AM 560, The Answer. If we want to preserve our constitutional republic, we need an informed and educated citizenry. And that's what this show is all about. Find out what's really happening. It's time to stop the lies and learn the truth. This is The Real Story with your host, Jeannie Ives.
All right, thanks for joining me tonight. Welcome back. Happy New Year. It's great to be back on the radio and here to help inform voters about what's going on. 2026 is going to be a very important year. And sharing the microphone with me tonight is my co-host, Kevin Phares.
Hello, hello.
Yep, he's in off of college break from law school at Liberty University. So appreciate him coming in. He's a veteran of radio. It did quite a few years in Bloomington, and where he also started, it was a founding member of the TPUSA chapter there at ISU. So he's got, conservative bona fides, which is awesome.
100%,
yes,
100%.
of course.
And
yeah.
no stranger to our next topic either.
Yeah, of course not. So it is interesting. The Wall Street Journal, I was shocked to see this headline, but because people are saying differently, they've been saying 2026 could be tough for the Senate, for Republicans to hold the Senate. But here's the Wall Street Journal headline just today. Democrats face steep climb to reclaim Senate in the 2026 races. Democrats enter the 2026 midterm campaigns hoping history is on their side, but confronting a Senate map that is not. Republicans regain control of the chamber in 2024 and hold a 53-47 majority, with midterm elections typically favoring the party out of power. Democrats face an unforgiving battlefield that sharply limits their opportunities to claw back control. Yeah, I think that they have some problems here. Now, I will say, I was told differently I think in 2022, there wasn't going to be until 2030 until the map really changed back to where it was favorable to Republicans, but apparently that is wrong. Not to mention Trump has really upended things as well. Georgia's in trouble now. They're looking at election integrity, so those 2 Senate Democrats should be out of office. So we have opportunities here, but we don't have opportunities if people don't show up and they don't vote. So my guest who's joining us right now is Randy Niemeyer. Randy is the current Lake County, Indiana GOP chairman, and he and along with his colleagues are sponsoring the 2026 Reagan Rally. It's this Friday in Maryville, Indiana, at the Avalon Manor, and it features Scott Presler and Seth Gruber. I'm also a panelist. I'm so thrilled that they asked me to do that as well. And so we're having a great time talking about registering people to vote with Scott Presler, the founder of Early Vote Action, and Seth Graber, the founder of the White Rose Resistance. And so to talk more about that and our opportunities in 2026, is we're joined by Randy. Randy, thanks very much for joining us on The Real Story.
Jeannie, I am pleased to be here. Thanks for having me.
Great. And, we were trying to get a hold of Scott Presler. We were unable to connect. Do you know if he can still come on or not?
I can shoot him a quick text here.
Okay, because we were just calling him on his cell phone. He didn't pick up.
Yep, he may be screening. Who knows?
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
That's the good and bad thing about the cell phones is it gives all of us the ability to discern whether or not we want to pick it up. It's not like the old phone attached to the wall with the cord that was stretched about 10 feet too long.
You know what? Unfortunately, my co-host doesn't remember those times. He's way too young for that.
Yeah, I remember hearing stories about it.
Oh, stories. Okay, great.
Watching
good.
shows with it on it.
Well, Randy, I mean, this is pretty exciting. This is a huge rally that you guys have put together with huge names, and tell people more about what they can do if they go to this rally. What are they going to get out of it?
Yeah, if you want to learn more about our party, the rally, if you want to go, we still have some tickets available. They're going fast. It's LakeCountyRepublicanParty.com. But this rally is really something that kicks off our election season. We have our filing period beginning January 7th in Indiana, goes to February 6th. We're in one of the few counties in Indiana that's a blue county, and we're marching it towards purple. We're getting very close in a lot of areas, but we need to fill the ballot with good Republicans, but most importantly, good conservative Republicans, because I think as we saw in the redistricting fight in Indiana, that Indiana, while it's a Republican state, is not necessarily a conservative state. And this rally is really meant to galvanize the grassroots, bring people together, get that energy focused around the start of the campaign season, hear from some great speakers that are going to talk about those red meat conservative values that helped get President Trump elected.
Okay, that's great. How were you ever able to get pin down Scott Presler to come? I mean, he's very difficult to get a hold of, and I'm thrilled that he's going to be able to give people some real information.
Well, this is a funny world now with social media. Everything shrinks. When we were really working hard on this redistricting thing, I reached out to Scott on X and direct messaged him, and he messaged me back, and we exchanged phone numbers and had a couple conversations, and he was very engaged in the fight of saying, if states like Indiana can't help President Trump maintain a governing majority, then we've got to start challenging those incumbents and those party structures within those states on the grassroots level. So that's right in Scott's wheelhouse. He's committed all around the country to helping primary weak Republicans who have chosen not to fight for our country as President Trump is.
Okay, so you're probably picking out a few people who refused to do the redistricting measure. Is that correct?
I believe that there are some targets that have been formed for sure. There's a Fair Maps Indiana group that was formed, a political action committee that's directly tied to the Trump political organization.
Okay, we got Scott.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Okay, good.
Okay, we're gonna patch in Scott Presler now, if you don't mind. That'd be great. Okay, Scott.
Hi, good evening.
Hey, Scott, thank you so much for joining us on The Real Story. My co-host here is Kevin Phares. He's one of the younger generation, more closer to your age than mine. And, we're just thrilled about the work that you've been doing and Early Vote Action has been doing, which you are the founder of, for the strict purpose of registering Republican voters and getting them committed to vote early, absentee and by mail, or on Election Day by any means necessary. That is such a monumental task. It shouldn't be that hard, but you had made this your singular focus. I'm calling you the nation's registrar.
Thank you. Well, it makes a difference. With Minnesota in the news, I was doing some research, and back in 2008, a statewide election for the U.S. Senate was decided by 312 votes.
Wow.
So to anyone that thinks that get out the vote or voter registration or organizing doesn't make a difference, yes, it does. And I hope to bring that energy and enthusiasm to the Hoosier State.
Well, Scott, I first must say, and I speak for a lot of people when I say thank you so much for being a voice to the younger generation to get out and vote and to care about these elections. But my big question is when you're out talking to people, how do we make sure that 300 votes leans Republican rather than Democrat? How do you talk to somebody, especially I'm 25, people that are younger, and what do you say to somebody who isn't necessarily politically in tune, but has heard bad things about Republicans on the news, and how do you get them maybe more on our side?
Well, thank you for your question. And I think that's actually not the best angle to look at. And so let me explain what I mean by that. When I'm out registering voters, what I do is I want to meet our base where they are. When you look at the fact that 30% of Christians are not registered to vote, 30% of hunters are not registered to vote, oh my gosh, if every single person in both of those communities actually made their voices heard, we would have a radically more transformative government. So I meet the voters where they are. And number two, what I do is I have tools like a whiteboard, and on the whiteboard, I'll have a message that says something to the effect of, should men not be allowed in women's locker rooms? And I allow the voters to have a choice with a blue Sharpie or a red Sharpie, and it will indicate either yes or no. And when they pick up yes, meaning the conservative choice of banning men from women's spaces, then I instantly bring out a voter registration form and I switch into GOTV mode. And so what I'm doing is I'm not only meeting bases where they are by going to Walmart, Home Depot, churches, street corners, fairs, festivals, rodeos, but I am also using tools of attrition to make sure that I am speaking to the audience that I want in order to mobilize them to win elections.
So it's less about convincing people and more so showing people that they're a lot more conservative than they might have thought.
Absolutely. Well, it's everything is two-pronged, three-pronged. There are opportunities to persuade and to bring people over, but ultimately my message is there are more of us than there are of them. They are just better about getting their base to vote.
And are you focused on a particular age group, or do you do this exercise with anybody who comes by?
Everyone, every single person. If you are of legal age, I'm going to cemeteries. I'm not a Democrat, but even with members of the youth, they'll come up to me inquisitive, asking what are the differences between the party. And really, I love that because that's a moment that it's about who gets to them first, right? And I mean that very respectfully. Do we want an AOC? Do we want a Bernie reaching out to the youth? Or do we want a conservative constitutionalist planting seeds of freedom within the youth? And so that's why going to meet the voters where they are is so immensely important. And that's what we do at Early Vote Action.
Well, I actually sit on the Illinois State Party. I'm one of the state central committeemen, and I always made I really feel like the young Republicans should take this on as a mission. They should learn from you. They should learn your techniques, and they should replicate it and register new voters in such a way.
Thank
and
you.
I just hope that they pick up that mantle and do it. I think the way that you have just discussed how you do it is revolutionary. I think the actual effort of registering new voters is not. It's something that we have just failed to do.
Well, what I encourage people to do is YouTube me. And there are so many videos of me explaining this process, even showing you the process. And that's why I believe the best way to lead is by example. I'm not asking anybody to do that I personally won't do. And so, for example, I will be at the Great American Outdoor Show for literally a week, and it has 500,000 hunters from all over Pennsylvania visiting. And you bet your behind that we're going to be there registering everyone to vote.
So I think Kevin found on your Instagram or something that you've got some sort of big meeting coming up at the White House.
I saw it was on your X. You said that you have a special meeting in Washington, D.C., and you didn't specify. I was curious. Can you give us any insight where your special meeting tomorrow is in Washington, D.C.?
I want to tell you so badly, but one thing that I've learned in life is never share a success before it happens. To my young audience listening today, never share something good before it happens, because if it's taken away from you, or somebody may not want you to have that. And so, no, I like a little bit of mystery. And tomorrow I'll be able to share it, and it's very related to the beautiful people of the Midwest. That's all I can say.
Well, I love to hear that. Speaking of all the work that you're doing and the successes that you have had, what do you see? We got 2026 coming up, and you seem to be the guy that knows where we need to be fighting, how we need to be fighting, and what we're going to do to win different seats and pick up more for conservative candidates. So what do you see in 2026 as our biggest battlegrounds and most winnable areas?
Oh, gosh. Well, listen, Wisconsin, your next door neighbor, you guys called me from Illinois, right? Mm-hmm. Illinois market.
Yes.
Governor Evers is retiring. That is a pickup opportunity. I do believe that Tom Tiffany is running for governor, congressman. Mm-hmm. Big opportunity. Michigan, our beautiful Michiganders, Gretchen Whitmer, she is term limited, right? She can't run again.
Right.
In Iowa, you have the opportunity to pick a new governor, and I believe a Senate candidate as well. Oh my gosh, even California, who knows what's going to happen over there? Texas, Arizona, Nevada, all of these states have governor opportunities going into the 2026 election. But I believe if we're going to be successful, get back to the basics. Focus on making an economy that works for working class America. Focus on continuing to secure the border. Focus on peace and stabilizing, so that way all the hardship of people coming to our country, well, maybe beautiful Venezuelans are going to be able to return home now that it's going to be safe. And I think going back to the reason why we won the 2024 election, if it's not broken, do not fix it.
All right. Well, I appreciate your time tonight, and I'm looking forward to meeting you in person. I will be there as well. I'm one of the panelists, so what a honor for me to share the stage with you. And Randy, could you just tie this up and tell people again where they could get tickets that are still available for January 9th in Lake County, Indiana?
Yeah, LakeCountyRepublicanParty.com. Click on the events drop down and just follow the instructions there. Really easy. We're going to have a great panel, and Scott he wraps this up so nicely, so much better than I can. I'm a 20-year precinct committeeman, a 16-year elected official, and sometimes we like to ramble a little bit. But at the base of this entire event is all about not just engaging the grassroots, but investing in them. The following day after our event, we have a candidates training event that our county party is putting on to really invest some of the proceeds of the Friday night event right back into the people. Make sure that we're following through on what Scott's doing and what so many America First warriors are doing across this country to not just hold on by a thread, but to create a real governing majority and to create a sustainable model of governance.
Well, in 2026, which is the 250th birthday of the founding of our great nation, there is no better time for people to get involved and understand civics and their responsibility as a citizen of the United States. And I appreciate both of you, Scott and Randy, for really taking on that conversation and informing people, and because we need more of this, not less. And I'm looking forward again to Friday night.
And if I may, I'm so sorry. Why am I coming? I want to make it very clear. I'm not just coming to help wonderful chairmen, and I'm not coming to support the people of Lake County. This is about accountability, my friends. I never imagined I'd be coming to the beautiful Hoosier state. I'm coming because your elected leaders are defying the will of the people that voted them into office. And any person that didn't support redistricting, you hear me loudly and clearly. We are peacefully coming for your seats. That is why I'm coming to the Hoosier state. Accountability.
Love it. Absolutely. Well, you know what? Illinois needs you too. So we'll help you we'll get you here one way or the other.
And I can't express enough. Thank you so much, Scott, for everything you've done, and Randy for coming on. Thank you, guys.
All right.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Dr. Lee.
And we're going to take a short break, and then we'll be back with The Real Story with Jeannie Ives.
Hello?
Sir, this is Officer Peterson. There's been a string of break-ins in the area, and your office, it was hit.
Hit? What do you mean? We were robbed?
Looks like the back door lock was easily pried open, and they moved through the building like they knew exactly what to take. We see wires everywhere. No computers.
What? No computers? I just upgraded everything.
Looks like they moved fast. We only found out because a neighboring business had their alarm go off. Do you have any security cameras?
No, nothing.
Don't wait until it's too late. Goldilocks protects Chicagoland businesses with custom security solutions. From reinforced commercial doors with keyless entry to cameras and 24/7 monitoring that alerts authorities immediately. Schedule a free on-site assessment at GoldilocksInc.com. Again, that's GoldilocksInc.com. Plus, AM 560 listeners get their first 3 months of monitoring free with a new install. Call 708-889-5600. That's 708-889-5600. Goldilocks, Chicago's premier locksmith, doors, and security systems company since 1981.
The following advertisement includes a celebrity impersonation.
You know, nothing beats the comfort of a perfectly heated home.
And when it comes to heating your home, Air Right Heating and Cooling does it the best.
And they love our country. Beautiful people.
Air Right Heating and Cooling is fast. When your furnace breaks down, they'll fix it right away.
Just like that. Big time results. No waiting around. You get the job done right. And let's face it, who doesn't love being warm, right? It's beautiful. When it's freezing, I crank up that amazing furnace. Burn, baby, burn. Trust me, you'll say, wow, I've never felt this warm in my life.
If you like keeping your hard-earned money, then contact Air Right Heating and Cooling. Tell them AM 560 sent you, and right now you'll receive $56 off any service.
Unbelievable.
Visit Air Right Heating and Cooling today at AIR-RITE.com. Again, that's AIR-RITE.com. Air Right Heating and Cooling. Doing it right since 1959.
The following is not an actor, but a real-life story from Trinity Debt Management.
My debt problem started probably about 2016. I needed my life to change financially. I called Trinity, and I ended up joining based on high credit card bills and high interest rate. And my counselor at Trinity has been great, and Trinity has been helping me to get on the right path of paying off these credit card bills, bringing down the interest rate. They have consolidated my bills into one low monthly payment. And now I am finally getting out of credit card debt. So I just want to say thank you, Trinity, for showing me a better and greater path.
If you're in debt and you need help, call Trinity at 1-800-793-8548.
My name is Sharon, and soon I will be debt-free for keeps.
1-800-793-8548.
Scott Jennings sees the left admitting failure.
Big story in the New York Times. Headline, How Biden Ignored Warnings and Lost Americans' Faith on Immigration and Helped Return Donald Trump to the White House. It's amazing to see even the New York Times admitting the failures of Joe Biden on immigration, even though it's a little too late to do anything about it now.
The Scott Jennings Show. Weekdays at 1, right before Hugh Hewitt at 2 on AM 560. The Answer. You're listening to The Real Story with your host, Jeannie Ives.
Welcome back. It's been a fast night so far, but we're not done. After the next break, we'll have the Edgar County Watchdogs. But before that, I wanted to touch on a story. It was my big story in my newsletter this morning. In fact, I already posted it at my blog site. You can go to breakthrough-ideas.com. It's the top story under the read section. But I wanted to highlight this Prairie Food Co-op. It's a community grocery store. I mean, first of all, have you ever heard of a community grocery store? What a joke. But what's important here is that they needed about $4.4 million to start. So they spent about a dozen years, it says in the articles that were written about this, that these two people basically like, oh, let's have our community grocery store. It's going to be a locally sourced, food for people. We want to be sustainable. We want to be green, all that stuff. So what did they get? They got $1.5 million. Sean Caston, through using federal tax monies, gave them a grant of $750,000. And then the state of Illinois came in with a Rebuild Illinois Downtowns and Main Street Capital Initiative for $807,000. So 35% of their money for startup costs came from taxpayers, and yet they want you to believe that they are a community organization. Well, I did a little shopping there, because why not do a site visit? I mean, if you're going to go check out Somali daycare centers in Minneapolis, then why can't people check out these other taxpayer-funded entities as well? And so I've been trying to do that. I've already done that before. I told you that I've already done that. I went to the Southwest Immigrant Project. I wrote a report on that. That's completely bogus. This one's bogus too. It's in Lombard on Westmore Myers Road. Go ahead and check it out. I encourage you to do it. And I bought like a group of foods. I checked out the store. I bought a group of foods there. Then I went to Jewel and bought the same thing, or close, or almost nearly identical, the same thing if I could find the same thing. And the difference was like $1.50. Actually, after one of the products that I bought at the community grocery store was Rayo's homemade spaghetti. This is a product of Italy. Now, I couldn't find it in Jewel. They were sold out of it, but actually the sold out price would have been lower than the Prairie Foods Co-op. So actually the differential between the two baskets of groceries was just over $1 at the end of the day. I bought Reese's whole watermelon chestnuts there. That's a product of China. How local is China, Kevin?
Last time I checked, at least an ocean away.
No, not local at all. They had, of course, your 100% Angus grass-fed beef, right? Well, I mean, one person it was sourced in Minnesota at PFC. The other one was in California.
I gotta ask though. So if it was in China, or if it's produced by China, could that also maybe mean some of the farmland they're buying up in the United States?
No, I don't think so, but it's a good point. But anyway, I bought a cow directly from a farmer in southern Illinois, and that was processed by the Amish. And guess what? I got a lower price. And that's locally sourced.
Yeah.
Anyway, you should read the story. It's infuriating. The fraud is everywhere. This is legal fraud because they agreed to the grants. But it's still wrong. It's wrong to be spending money on a grocery store that's in the for-profit category.
Your money.
Yep.
Your money.
We'll be right back with the Edgar County Watchdogs.
Make sure that you never miss a day of Sean Thompson when you subscribe to the Sean Thompson Show podcast, presented by the Alpha Wealth Group. Listen to the entire show each day on demand with limited commercial breaks. You can subscribe today for free at 560theanswer.com and click on podcasts, or search for The Sean Thompson Show on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Kathleen Maloney, some lawmakers are upset that Congress wasn't notified about the military operation that led to the capture of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro.
They did not just do ships off the water. They went inside Venezuela, bombed civilian as well as military places. And it's a violation of the law to do what they did without getting the authorization of Congress.
Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer on ABC's This Week. The ouster of Maduro is about more than the federal drug and terrorism charges against him.
Vice President J.D. Vance says it's Venezuela who stole American oil property. And moving forward, the administration pictures a future where oil companies invest in Venezuela with the revenues benefiting its people.
Fox's Madeline Rivera. America is listening to Fox News.
It's Reveille. At the end of the year, most news outlets and pundits will reflect on the biggest events of the year, and in 2025, there have been some whoppers. In fact, many events in 2025 will have ramifications for decades to come. Top of the list is the political assassination of Charlie Kirk. His murder, witnessed in person by thousands and viewed online by millions, was the result of over a decade of leftists getting away with their intolerant behavior toward conservatives. No more. The movement Charlie started is stronger now, and as alternative media becomes the primary way people get their news, political dynamics in this country are changing. Other big events run the gamut from Trump completely closing the border to the debunking of the climate change scare, DEI initiatives, and the transgender agenda. In Illinois, one of the top stories was the conviction and sentencing of Mike Madigan, who spent Christmas behind bars. Then there are the stories that the media ignored, choosing to report on them initially but not pursue them relentlessly. While they persistently covered leftist protests and stories of illegals getting deported, they ignored much more important stories, such as the murder of Katie Abraham and Chloe Polson by a previously deported illegal alien. The Abrahams' plea for accountability has been met with silence by both Pritzker and the media. The city of Harvey passing a resolution stating they are insolvent and require financial oversight by the state. Other towns are in the same boat. The Somali fraud. While Minneapolis has been ground zero in the revelation of taxpayer fraud, this type of fraud is happening elsewhere. Illinois taxpayers are paying for similar services with no accountability. Information is power. In 2026, we won't stop talking about these stories and hope you share them with others. I'm Jeannie Ives. Listen to The Real Story Sunday from 7 to 9 p.m. and sign up for my newsletter at breakthrough-ideas.com.
The fight against sexual exploitation begins at home. Sexual exploitation is no longer a distant issue. It's happening here in our communities, schools, and even our homes. Every day, millions of Americans are targeted and trapped through manipulation, coercion, and deception. Sexploited in America, The Invisible War is a powerful docuseries exposing the hidden systems and cultural blind spots that allow exploitation to thrive, and gives a voice to the survivors and families forever changed by it. Raw, unfiltered, deeply human, these stories reveal both the devastating realities of exploitation and the extraordinary courage of those who refuse to be silenced. Sexploited in America, the docuseries is presented by AGA Media and available to everyone now at salemnow.com.
A great smile can make you feel happy and confident. So when you consciously conserve your teeth, that glowing smile will show through. At Best Dental Group, Doctors Economos, Gave Alice, and their staff are ready to help you create that perfect look or maintain the one you have now. Along with general dentistry, Best Dental Group is a multidiscipline practice with an orthodontist, periodontist, and prosthetic specialists on site. They use the newest breakthroughs in dental technology such as titanium implants, Invisalign clear braces, and laser treatments. Don't let fear get in the way. They can recommend sedation to make your experience as comfortable as possible. Best Dental Group is located in historic downtown Bartlett and is a multilingual office. Call 630-830-4930, 630-830-4930, or visit bestdental.org. Best Dental Group, sharing your conservative values and helping you to conserve your teeth.
We now return to The Real Story. Here's your host, Jeannie Ives.
The familiar music of the Edgar County Watchdogs. We know who's watching. They're watching, always watching, and Illinoisans are lucky that they are. The best watchdogs in the state of Illinois, probably in the country. What's your, John, are you there? What's your tally right now? How many officials? Let's just start out. It's Happy New Year. It's 2026. So starting out the new year, what's your tally for the number of elected officials that have left because of your work?
I don't have that number off the top of my head.
Oh, you don't? That's like 600 and what?
Just shy of 700.
That's awesome.
That's insane. Congratulations.
You're the best. That's my co-host, Kevin Phares. I think you helped him out once with some sort of a OMA violation.
That, or I think I've also talked to you. If you ever were on David Paul Blumenstein's show, I might have talked to you on at that point too, or Kat Peterson.
Yeah. Okay, so welcome back. I hope you guys had a great holiday, and I'm glad to have you guys back here.
Oh, we're glad to be here.
Awesome. John, could we start with you? Because I'm interested in both of your stories, really. Let's start with the dissolution of a transit district. I mean, how often does this happen? What the
Never.
heck?
Well, I can't say never. The last one that we know dissolved was because of our work here in Edgar County, and it dissolved. And two of the employees were pled guilty in federal court over what they did here in Edgar County.
Well, you had reported on the CRIS Mass Transit District. You had reported on them earlier, a couple months ago on this show, and now they're dissolving?
They never filed any financial reports with the comptroller that they're required to file. Their attorney said, well, IDOT told us we didn't have to. So I told the attorney, I said, you might want to ask the comptroller that question, because I'm pretty sure you asked IDOT the wrong question. And then several months later, IDOT comes out with a report saying that they had severe financial and governance deficiencies, and with 46% of their expenditures and with no supporting documentation.
Okay, can you give us some background? Obviously, I think the picture from your website about them says "Welcome to downtown Danville." So this is a transit district that serves Danville, correct?
Danville and Vermilion County, and have intergovernmental agreements with Ford, Iroquois, and some other county. I can't remember the name of it.
So it's a pretty big geographic transit district. Do you know how big was their budget? How many years were they operating?
And where is the money?
Yes.
Well, they don't know where the money is. We know that during the 3 years that IDOT audited them, their reliance on credit doubled from $819,000 to $1.19 million. Oh, no, more than doubled to $819,000, despite getting a $1.19 million operating grant.
How long had they been in service? When were they first created?
Several decades. I'm not sure when they were first created. I don't have all that information in front of me, but they've been around for several decades. And the key thing with the IDOT audit is they told them Danville is now going to manage your finances, and that was the first week of December.
So are you saying that this particular transit district is going away, but the actual transit services are going to just be moved to oversight of Danville?
No, that changed on December the 26th. December the 28th, Danville was going to do all their finance. December the 26th, IDOT sent another letter saying, you will do a forensic audit or we're canceling all your grants. And the Mass Transit District said, we don't want to spend the money and that we don't have just to do a forensic audit. So IDOT said, okay, everything's canceled.
So no services are going to be provided.
Correct. And then last Friday, they put out a press release saying they're closing down as of 6 p.m. And Friday morning, they fired all their employees via text messages.
Is anyone going to jail?
No, nobody goes to jail in the state. except Mike Madigan did spend Christmas in jail. But that was the result of the federal prosecution.
And look how long that took.
Yeah, forever.
Yeah, who knows? And the key thing with all this, as far as we're concerned, we don't care if the Mass Transit District hangs around or closes. However, when they close, the Mass Transit District Act, if they haven't changed it since the last one we closed down, requires that they sell everything and pay off their debts, and any remaining funds go to the general fund. In this case, it would be of Vermilion County and Danville, because both of those entities appointed board members to the Mass Transit District.
Well, Danville's bankrupt.
Divided based on population, anything that's left over. So they have to sell it. Now, the Danville mayor put out a statement saying that they're working with IDOT to gain control of the buses and hire their own, hire the bus drivers back under a different name. But, I can't see any way that can happen.
Okay,
legally.
You know what else I'm curious about is how much money were they getting on an annual basis? It sounds like it was around $1 million, maybe.
And about how much is unaccounted for?
No, but the other question is literally for that $1 million, let's just say it's $1 million. How many people were being serviced? How many trips did they actually take? I am betting it's an astronomically low number of service trips for the price that they were paying.
Well, they just 6 months ago they did the IGA with Ford, Iroquois, and some other county to transport, rural transport in those counties, and I believe it was because they were going broke and they had to have more income, which obviously didn't work.
Okay, so I want to know what their pension obligations were, how much their salaries are making, where's a unionized workforce. I mean, I have a lot of questions. This is really kind of a study in government failure, quite frankly.
And I'd even wonder if any of the local officials could have been in on it. Were they laundering the money essentially through this? I don't I can't, no accusations. I'm just wondering.
Well, we don't know. We have to first thing you look at is credit cards.
Like we find in a lot of small local governments, the officials, the board members that are supposed to be keeping track of everything are just plain ignorant of what their jobs and their duties are.
Yeah.
And nobody gets held accountable. And then when they just whitewash and approve all the payments, the prosecutors don't really want to prosecute the employees because the board members spent 2 years approving all these bogus payments.
Because God forbid we have an accountable government anywhere.
No, exactly. There's nothing. This is another type of fraud. I mean, we just talked about my prairie. You'll love this, Kirk. Because the Prairie Food Co-op in Lombard wants to do locally sourced, sustainable stuff. I'm like, go freaking kill a deer in Central Illinois, process it, and sell this stuff.
Well, I don't know how they'd kill it, Jeannie, considering that Sean Casson is the one that is like the head honcho of trying to do all this, and he is the most anti-gun person. He wants to go door to door and take your gun. So.
No. Actually, he says that if you own a gun, you just don't have much down there if you're a guy.
Oh, well.
You remember that statement?
I do remember that one.
Yeah, he's such an idiot. What an idiot. We're way off track, but I kind of like this topic. Okay, you know what? We're going to have to cover the Michael Hastings mob action lawsuit, which is awesome. John, we're going to have to cover that maybe next week because we need to take a short break, and we're going to go to Kirk Allen after that. Okay, we'll be right back. This is The Real Story with Jeannie Ives.
Who's watching me?
This past year has been one of the hardest in MyPillow's history. It's because of you that they are making it through. They want to thank you for your continued support by passing on some Christmas specials to our listeners. Get the Children's Bible Story Pillow 5-pack for $29.98. My Slippers with a free bottle of leather protectant spray for $39.98. Blankets, comforters, and duvets for as low as $25, and a blowout sale on the standard MyPillows for just $14.98. So go to MyPillow.com or call 800-489-0201 and use promo code LIBERTY to take advantage of these wholesale prices, including the standard size MyPillow, originally $49.98, now only $14.98. Queens, $18.99. Kings, only $1 more. 800-489-0201 and use promo code LIBERTY. We know MyPillow products come with a 10-year warranty, but MyPillow has just announced that they are extending their 60-day money-back guarantee. That's right. Orders placed between now and December 25th will have their 60-day money-back guarantee extended through March 1st, 2026. Promo code LIBERTY.
Don't get stuck with a cold shower this winter. Give CenterGuard Plumbing a call. Get a new 40-gallon water heater installed for just $1,195 for standard installation, or a 50-gallon heater for $1,295 standard installation. A proud new sponsor of AM 560, CenterGuard is offering specials on new water heaters. Old man winter is here. Don't get stuck in the cold. And the same can happen to your water heater. If you're having hot water issues or your water heater's over 8 years old, take advantage of this winter special today. CenterGuard Plumbing is Chicagoland's same-day water heater experts. Call before noon and they can schedule your repair or install the same day on in-stock water heaters. They'll even haul away your old one, no charge. You're only a text away from install today. Call 847-406-8883. Mention AM 560 to receive winter special pricing. That's 847-406-8883. Call or text 847-406-8883 or visit CenterGuardPlumbing.com.
Hey there, Chicagoland. Jeff here from Jeff Buys Your House. For many homeowners, winter can feel overwhelming. There's big bills, unexpected situations, or the stress of owning a home you no longer want. But here's the good news. You don't need to wait for warmer weather to make a change. At Jeff Buys Your House, we make selling simple. Even in the heart of winter, you don't need to fix anything, do any cleaning, and you certainly don't need to worry about unpredictable buyers. We buy houses as is, and you choose the closing date that works best for you. We've made the home selling process easy and stress-free for nearly 2 decades. That's why homeowners trust us, and why we've earned over 400 Google reviews and an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. As a veteran-owned business, we handle everything with integrity and care. So if winter is weighing on you, we are here to help lighten the load. Call us at 630-895-9530. That's 630-895-9530 or jeffbuysyourhouse.com and get your offer today.
Hello, everyone. It's Tom, the founder of Freedom Boat Clubs of Michiana, now with 9 wonderful locations across Northwest Indiana and beautiful Southwest Michigan. With the holidays upon us, it's a perfect time to reflect on what matters most in our lives. Few of us will ever wish we'd spent more time at work. As the old saying goes, time spent on the water will not be subtracted from our lifespan, so just how precious is that boating time? At Freedom Boat Club, we make boating simple and accessible for everyone. Just join the club and get unlimited free training plus unlimited boat usage when you want. No hassles, no complications, just quality time on the water with the people you love the most. Time is money, and Freedom Boat Club is perhaps the most efficient way to experience boating and create unforgettable memories together. For more information, please call me at 269-281-8889 or visit fbcmichiana.com. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, everyone.
You're listening to The Real Story with your host, Jeannie Ives.
Welcome back. We don't have much time left, so let's get right to it. We've got the Edgar County Watchdogs on, and we're going to hear from Kirk. Kirk Allen, thanks so much for joining us tonight.
You bet. Thanks for having me.
You bet. All right, so we're. How about Murdoch Township Highway? Whatever happened with that?
Well, last time, I think for 4 straight months, we heard a decision will be made next week, a charging decision by the state's attorney. And next week comes and goes, and the next one comes and goes. And this is a situation that started clear back in August when we broke the story. The road commissioner filed a bogus voter registration document. There is no such parcel at the address he provided. And we uncovered that he actually lives in Coles County and gets a property tax exemption in Coles County. So we got an investigation initiated by the state's attorney. He asked the sheriff's office to, investigate basically what we had alleged. Mm-hmm. And our goal is to get the guy out of office. He's not supposed to be there. And at a minimum, he should be, removed. He should be prosecuted, in a lot of people's opinion. That's a decision the state's attorney has to make. But week after week, we kept hearing the same thing, excuse after excuse. Well, in October, the end of October, he said there's still some decisions to be made, and we're working on it. So the end of December, I sent him an email again, and now he says a decision should be made shortly after the first of the year. Now, I'm assuming he's talking first of the 2026 year, because he didn't qualify which year.
But you're still simply just trying to get a decision on a charging decision. That's all.
Right. And what I suspect, because we've seen this so many times, state's attorneys will not prosecute local government. I suspect he's going to say, well, we decided not to charge. Okay, so how's he stay in office? Because the election code is crystal clear. He doesn't reside in the district that he is a highway commissioner for.
If that were the case, then would an average citizen just essentially have to make their own case and then pay their own lawyer to do some sort of civil action against it? Is that the only recourse a person has?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
that would be the only recourse.
Yeah, but that's what they pay prosecutors to do. They're supposed to be our legal representatives in cases like this. It's.
Look, I'm all for following the election code, but I am curious. Was he doing the job? Like, was he doing it and doing any good at it? Like,
no, that's the problem. That's what brought the attention to us. Is everybody complained that they're not, he's not doing the job. He never shows up. He's never there, and we find out he doesn't even live there. Well, that would explain why he's never there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But no, he's not doing the job according to all the folks that live in that township that we've talked to.
And I feel like that's where really the problem is, because I could understand making a case for, well, we're not going to prosecute the guy. Yeah, he doesn't live here. We need to amend our bylaws, something for if he was doing the job. But when you're collecting the salary, you already aren't supposed to be in the office, and you're not doing the job. Then it's like, okay, you've just been cashing a free paycheck. This is welfare with extra steps, essentially.
Well, actually, though, it does go a little bit deeper than this. This guy literally fraudulently signed a document saying for voter registration.
Yeah.
And he didn't actually live there. That's outright fraud. And if anybody else did it, that's 5 years in jail, I think.
Right. And that document, the address he listed, there is not even a property parcel at that address. I mean, he created this address, and ironically, it was the state's attorney that was the FOIA officer that confirmed there is no such record, property tax record for any parcel with that address.
And he's
So
the
he
same
knows the
guy who
proposed
won't charge
address.
him. He's the same guy who won't charge him?
Well, he's the same guy that hasn't charged him yet.
Okay.
Well, what if he just sets up a tent there?
No.
Well, therein lies the problem with that. He is getting a property tax exemption in Coles County. In order to get that property tax exemption, homestead exemption, that's where you reside. In election case law, that is a basis for your residency.
Ugh, that's just unreal. Okay,
Well, it's like Dawson
I mean,
Township.
I'm glad that you're on the case. I mean, how many months has this one been going on?
It's over 6 months since we exposed it.
Over 6 months. Over 6 months.
He's been collecting a check every month.
Over 6 months, and he shouldn't even be there. And he's lying.
Correct.
Does he know that you're looking into him, right? Like, does he know that this is something that people know about, or is he just living obliviously?
Yeah. He knows.
Have you reached out to him?
He absolutely knows. In fact, I reached out to him, and he confirmed with me on the phone that he lives in Coles County. And I said, well, you may not be aware of it, but that means you can no longer be the highway commissioner because you don't reside in the district.
Okay, so
well, I'm renting a place, and his whole story changed after I called him out.
Okay, how about the other folks who manage that township? Do they not care?
Dawson. Oh, in Murdoch?
Yeah.
They're livid that they can't even get a return phone call from the state's attorney.
Okay, well that's good. I mean that's good. They're not just okay with it. They're upset. That's good.
Well, the challenge now is a lot of these folks are taking the position, well, if he can live somewhere else, then so can everybody else.
Oh, break the law, change the law.
Right. That's not the solution. The solution is to hold the guy accountable, do a quo warranto, remove him from office. He's not qualified to be there. If you're not going to prosecute him, at least do a quo warranto to remove him from office.
And especially, like I said, if he's not even doing that, you need somebody to do that job, especially in some of these more, if I know where we're talking about, it's more of a rural community where they need those highways to be cleared for truckers and people and farmers and people getting through. And so if they're not doing the job of the highway commissioner to keep an eye on all that, then there's real, actual tortious liability that can come onto not just the highway commissioner, but also the township itself for not taking care of that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We don't have a whole lot of time to go into the Shelby County stories. So instead, how about this? Can you I'm just coming up with this on the fly, but what are the top stories that you have carried over from last year that you are really paying attention to and trying to get resolution on?
Well,
Other than
I
this
think
one.
Dawson Township is one that we're just blown away with. $300,000 or $200,000+ of straight up theft, and still no charging decision from the state's attorney. He's got tomorrow's his deadline to answer my FOIA requests. We'll see how that goes. But everybody we've talked to, the state's attorney's not going to do a thing. He will not prosecute. He doesn't prosecute anything. He just collects a big fat $160,000 paycheck and lives high on the hog there in Marshall, Illinois.
Outrageous. Okay, so Dawson Township, obviously Murdoch, this highway commissioner. What other stories are on that you're watching closely?
Well, we still got that road rage police officer issue.
Okay.
In Bolingbrook, we've got the Veterans Assistance Commission in Vermilion County and this mass transit district in Vermilion County we're still pursuing.
Vermilion County's going to start sounding like Shelby County.
And then the police officer in Mattoon, we've got some records coming to us in future court filing. Apparently, Arcola didn't give me all the discipline records. Apparently there's been some that were obtained in a subpoena in a criminal case, and those are going to be provided to me by the attorney. So looks like Arcola was not exactly upfront with their FOIA response.
So we have everything from police misconduct to mass transit stuff to township issues again. Okay, good. What else?
And we're going to have to sue Dalton to make them pay what the judge already told them to pay us in our FOIA cases.
Oh, that'll be fun. Excellent. All right. Well, that's all we got time for. Thanks a lot, John and Kirk. Thanks so much for joining me. And we'll talk to you next week.
Thank you.
You bet. Okay. And Kevin, thank you for co-hosting the show with me. Really appreciate it.
Let's do it again sometime. I appreciate you, Jeannie.
Absolutely. Thank you. And thank you to all the listeners. We'll be back next week with brand new material. This is The Real Story with Jeannie Ives.
So right now may be the perfect time for you to rethink how you pay for health care. And here's why. This time of year is decision time for a lot of people, but it's also when you can join MediShare and save even more than usual. For many families, joining MediShare means saving about $500 a month, which is a game changer for a lot of people. More than 1 million people are now part of healthcare sharing because it just makes so much sense, especially right now. And MediShare is the gold standard. Members like it a lot. We know this from member surveys. MediShare has been around